Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Darlene with Darlene's Discoveries through Weight Loss Surgery. I know I just came to you recently, and so it's strange for me to come back to you, I know, but I kind of felt a strong need to come on and talk to you about something that was on my mind, and I apologize for my voice, but we are dealing with thick smoke in the area, and my lungs don't like it very well, my asthma. But anyway, it is what it is. Uh, I I never talked about when I was first talked to about my uh, bariatric surgery when I talked with my surgeon, and I uh, followed Jen VSG or something like that. Anyway, she's having a lot of trouble, has had a lot of trouble with her um, vertical sleeve gastrectomy with her acid reflux, her GERD. And I know she had talked about that all at first, and had said she wanted to do the gastric bypass, but her surgeon had told her that she would be okay with the sleeve. And now she's having a lot of issues, and is told that she can't have any revisions or anything to change that because um, she's too small. She's lost weight with her sleeve, and rightly so, and she looks terrific and everything. But it's miserable to deal with the GERD and acid reflux, and that just prompted me to come on and tell my story a little bit too, because I kind of had issues and still continue. Um, when I went in to see my surgeon, I told her what was going on with me and everything, and I just said, well, it sounds like what you would be the best candidate for is the um, RNY gastric bypass. And I was kind of surprised at that because in my mind I kind of done some research and thinking that the sleeve might be the best, mostly just because of less invasive. And anyway, but she had talked about with the GERD and acid reflux that it would probably be the best choice. So in my mind, and that was just the first initial visit with her. So in my mind, and that was September of 2016, I had my surgery in August of 2017. No, sorry, that's wrong. Initial consult was September 2015. I had surgery August 2016. Oh, try to keep dates straight because it's been 2 years. I just had my 2-year surgery anniversary. Anyway, so from that September until, going through everything I needed to do, I always thought in my mind I was having the RNY. Well, uh, a month or so before I was to have my surgery, I got in the mail my approval from my insurance saying I was approved, and on it said VSG, and I'm like, wonder why it says that. And I had been in to see my doctor, my regular doctor, uh, and he says, well, uh, I see everything's in place for you to get your VSG and vertical sleeve gastritis. I said, no, I'm getting the RNY. No, yeah, I am. And I explained to him I was and everything, and I was like, he was perplexed a little bit, but he's like, well, okay, if that's what's going to happen. And he was just getting to leave. I was going to have to get a new regular doctor because he was moving to California. Anyway, so I thought, well, uh, And I think that was before, I can't remember exactly, it's 2 years ago. I can't remember if I got that letter first or if I'd seen my doctor first. But it was concerning a little bit. So when I went in to see my bariatric surgeon for a couple weeks, or I don't know, a few weeks before my surgery, I brought that letter and brought it up and said, you know, it says on here VSG and I'm getting the RNY. And so that was like, no, you know, and I said, yeah. I said, that needs to be changed. And so the bunch of whatever, and finally they sent me back and to this one gal that sets up the surgery stuff. And she says, well, she says, no, she says, on here it says you're getting the VSG. So I said, let me get the doctor. So she comes into her office, the doctor does, and I told her that I had initially been told I was getting the RNY, and here we are down to the wire, and I'm not getting my VSG. And I said, you know, and because of my GERD and all that stuff, and she's like, oh, well, she says, no, we've always been going to be doing the vertical sleeve, she says, and she goes into all her explanations, and I can't remember what they were now. Like I said, this is 2 years ago, about why I was getting it. I said, well, I said, all I know is what you told me way back at the first. And so she says, well, let's set up an appointment where we can sit down and talk. So a week or so later, I went in, we sat in her office, and she says, you know, when I first was here, and she started there, and that was she was right out of school first, you know, and so it was her first practice, you know, as having her own practice or whatever, being a bariatric surgeon. And so she says, when I first came, you know, I did do that and say a lot of things just right off the top of my head and like that. And I've learned that I shouldn't be doing that at first. And I think that's probably what I did at first. And so she said, what do you think we should do then? And I said, well, I said, if you believe that I'll be okay with my vertical sleeve hysterectomy, I said, I guess I trust your judgment and we'll go ahead with that. And she says, okay, well, then we'll go ahead and do that, you know, because I knew that if I didn't, then we would have to postpone and start all over again. And her practice was moving to another city, and it would have been a big chore, and I guess that's my own fault. I should have just waited and done it the right way. Anyway, today, well, ever since my sleeve, I still have had problems with the GERD. My medication for that did not change, and even on the maximum dose of the omeprazole and I don't know what all I'm on, a bunch of different things, a few other things to help. I still get that, and I've finally been sent to a gastrologist, and of course he had me up my dose of this one thing. I can't remember what it's called, and it had no change, and I'm on the maximum for the omeprazole, and have been since before my surgery. So I went in just this last week, and he says, "Is it gotten better? Hopefully, everything your change." I said, "No." I said, "It's the same, really. Nothing's changed. If anything, maybe you know, because it's not a constant thing for me, because I do have a lot of medication I take, but when it hits me, and I had told him the week before, because usually I just have the burning in the esophagus, not the heartburn. But I did have really bad heartburn that week before, where it just you know, it just hurt so bad, just a lot of pain. And so I told him about that. So he said, well, he said, he says, well, how do you feel? I said, do you want to just leave it? And if it gets, you know, and just kind of watch it and see if it gets worse, or do you want to go ahead and have, you know, scopes done and all that stuff? I said, well, I said, I can live with it like this. I said, as long as it's not causing any damage or anything, that's not a big deal. I guess I can live with it. You know, you'd rather not, but I hate to be, you know, wimpy on everything all the time. I just don't want it to cause damage. That's all. And that's why I was checking. He said, well, I think it might be a good idea to do an endoscope check and make sure that everything's okay, that your sleeve is not leaking and everything's okay there, and just to check. And he says, you don't have to, but if you like to, I think it wouldn't be a bad idea to do that. So that's where I am. I am, my calendar, I think September 7th, I'm doing that. So, Jen, I feel ya. And for those of you who, I think a lot of, maybe I might be wrong, but I think some doctors might decide to do VSG instead of the RNY just because it's probably easier to do. You know, like I said, it's less invasive, less stuff to do, and they want to take the easy way, I think, if they can. Vertical sleeve gastrectomy is very successful surgery for so many, and I think if they can do that, they would much rather do it. But if it's not right for the patient, I think they need to make sure that they're doing what's right for the patient and not what's easiest for them. And that's just my 2 cents worth on that. But I just kind of felt compelled to share that with, especially with anybody new going into it and looking at what should I get. Make sure you are aware of what's best for your symptoms and make sure it's what they do is going to be best for you. Anyway, enjoy the week, and I hope things are going well for you. I love having all of your support and all of my viewers, and it's just a joy to be able to have this community be so supportive and work together. And we will see you next time. Bye.